see quite a bit happens in the car in that time frame, including the fact that it's in a different shed and it's on Victorian plates now and it's registered. So give you guys a bit of an update of where the car is at, the work I've done so far and the work I have left to do. So first thing you can see is that the hood is almost finished. And when I say almost, I still have to trim it. But I've steam bent the timber bows and restored a frame that I managed to find for the car. So it's all looking quite nice. This isn't the material I'm going to use. This is some polyester stuff I got from a fabric shop just to make the padding. But yeah, all the bows are made out of beech timber, steam bent around a jig. They're not laminated, they're done correctly. And it was an absolute pain in the ass. I don't think I'd ever do it that way again because it took so much work. Anyway, besides that, the car's pretty well complete. I've done all the upholstery, which I didn't capture on film for you guys, sorry, but all the rear seats been done. I've done all the carpeting, all the door cards have been done, all the front seats been done, all the carpet's been done, all the dashboard's been done. And I reckon I've done about 2,000 miles in the car so far, and so far so good. It hasn't really let me down. One of the biggest runs I've done is about a 400 kilometer night trial, which started at 6 p.m. and I rolled back into the shed about 3 a.m. sorry. And just as I pulled into the shed, the car stalled, and I thought, stuff it, that's it. I went to start it the next morning and found it had lost spark, and the armature and the magneto had crapped itself. So that's really the only thing that's let me down on it. I've rebuilt the magneto properly since, and hasn't given me any more troubles. So I'm pretty happy with that. Not much has changed under here since I saw it last. It's probably a bit dirtier and looking a little bit more aged. That's because I use it. That's the idea. On the road, it's fun, but it's very slow. It handles quite well for what it is. Small light cars are always really enjoyable to throw around. Brakes are fantastic. They really pull up very nicely. The only issue I have had with the brakes is grease from the differential, or oil should I say, leaking into the left-hand drum. And so you essentially end up with one-wheel brakes after a while. I'm not sure if you can see down in there. There's not much point. So yeah, the plan is to rebuild a 503 motor. I've currently got all the block and crankcase and pistons and stuff down at the engine machinist. So that's definitely underway. And the idea of that is they make 27 horsepower stock versus 23 for the 501. Plus a few extra goodies like a shaved head, a high compression head for starters as well, a lighter flywheel, a beautiful SU carb, which I have here currently rebuilding, and a few other go fast bits. I should be able to get hopefully over 30 horsepower out of it, which will be a massive improvement on this thing, because I don't think this makes horsepower into the double digits. I think it's quite down in power. It's very tight. Other thing that I've got planned for it as well is the Fiat Car Club of Victoria. They are making taller ratioed crown wheel and pinions for the diff. So this is currently a 5.1 to 1. I'll be upgrading it to a 4.6 to 1, which gives you another 10% road speed. I've discovered top speed of this thing's about 45 if you're really ringing it. The chassis is quite comfortable there, but the engine's valve bouncing quite a bit. So that's one of the other advantages of the 503 motor, is that it has double valve springs as well. So you should be able to rev up to 3,000 RPM instead of 2.5 for this thing. I reckon what we'll do is we'll start it up, pull it outside and let you guys have a better look around it. I might even give it a bit of a wash. So it hasn't been started in quite a while, so it may require a little bit of coaxing. Generally, you need to just let it idle and warm up for a while before you try and rev it and drive it. So we'll retard the ignition, check if it's out of gear. Might bring the camera closer so you guys can actually have a bit of a closer look. Sometimes flooding the carburetor helps a bit. Try that. So once you get it to this stage, you just let it run and let it sort itself out. I'm still exactly not sure why it's unhappy. You see, if I try and give it a... proves me wrong. So there she is, all complete, out in the sunlight. Lots of work to get at this stage, over 11 years of work, but I'm really happy with the way she's turned out. Idling nice and slow on full retard. You can tell there's a leaky valve in there, so that's one of the things I plan to address with the engine rebuild. Absolutely thrilled with the way it's turned out. And the paintwork seems to be holding up pretty well. You can tell it's a bit dirty at the moment, but I don't think I've polished it in over a year, and that's just single stage acrylic. I painted it myself as well, if you're familiar with my older videos. So, really quite happy with it. See, we've got excellent oil pressure, granted it's cold, and charging works quite well. So I think it's about time we give her a bit of a wash up. So there we go, all cleaned up. Still shines up really well. These little brackets down here, another project that I made. Just another 5-minute job. Ended up making them from scratch. So this was a straight bit of, I don't know, 10mm bar from Bunnings, a bit of scrap steel and a bit of flat steel that I bent up into shape. And welded them together and brazed all the welds and got them electroplated in nickel. And of course they're the little rests when the hood frame folds down, they sit on those. And the straps go over the top and hold them down nicely. And I've spent a lot of time as well just trying to get the shape of the hood right so that it looks nice when it's folded up. It's very extended like it is at the moment on the car. The side profile is a real challenge to nail. I think I've got it pretty good. It's a real balance, like 10mm makes a massive difference in terms of placement of the timber bow. I recently moved the second to last bow, I'm not sure if my finger's pointing to the right spot, up 10mm, and that made a massive difference. It's all about the angle between the back of the hood and that top section there in terms of aesthetics. So I've got the canvas on order. I'm doing it in proper canvas, not vinyl. That should be coming in soon. It's got to get a bit more thread and a few lifter dots, little press studs that go around the back of the tub. And then I'll start trimming it. And then hopefully that'll be it, apart from the side curtains and the engine rebuild and the diff. Oh dear. So usually this time I'd mount the GoPro on the windscreen and take you out for a drive, but at the height of the coronavirus pandemic, we're at stage 4 or stage 3 lockdown, which means no non-essential travel. And there's actually been people fined for taking their classic cars out just for a drive. So I'm going to avoid that at all costs. But I do have a bit of footage that I took earlier in the year, might have been late last year, driving the Fiat around. So there's a few good sections that I can put in the video now for you. Alright, acceleration test, here we go. Flat foot. You need to adjust those brakes.
Nah.
No?
They work.
Oh, they seem, yeah. Eventually.